5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please do not change channel.
From Krypton Radio, brought to you by Famous Faces and Funnies and Off the Chain with Yvonne Mason. It's the Hangin With Web Show Radio Hour, the Internet's premier pop culture talk radio show. You're tuned in, you're logged on, and now, your host, award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomichter. Who are you hanging with?
Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin With Web Show Radio Hour. I'm G.W. Pomichter.
I'm Sage Ia.
And on the line with us via Skype, we have the Orlando Wizard himself, Robert Lupo. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing magnificent. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Absolutely
that's
wonderful.
A great wizard word.
That is a great wizard word. Magnificent. Yes. That's right. Wow. We've been off the air a couple weeks.
We have. Shame on us.
Yeah, shame on us.
We have good reason.
But we've been working hard. Yeah. We have been working really, really hard. And we've upgraded the studio. We've got all this stuff happening.
Ooh, you should see all the buttons and knobs and
buttons and knobs and new microphones.
Oh
my. Yeah, it's great. And then to boot, we just got back from MegaCon last week. Wow.
Just crazy making. I just want to tell you that Lupo had on the most fantastic jacket.
Best
I
jacket ever.
Jacket.
Yes.
I love my jacket.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
To see that jacket, look at my channel. That's usually what I wear when I'm filming.
Yes.
There you go.
Including that snazzy
check out the Orlando Wizard on YouTube, and you can check out that snazzy jacket. Man, MegaCon, what'd you think?
What did I think?
Yeah, what'd you think? Did you have a good time?
I had a wonderful time. It was MegaCon.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to MegaCon. I've been going to conventions since I was in high school. So I have a couple under my belt. And I've seen really, really great conventions. And I've seen very, very poor conventions. MegaCon is pretty epic. The problem I find with MegaCon is everything is so ridiculously spread out. It's a lot of walking.
It is.
A whole lot of walking to go see anything.
It is. And the scope of the show and the grandeur of the show has gotten so epic, so large that, like you said, it's 3 football fields to get from one side to the other side of the convention hall. And there were panels, I think, in every panel room around the convention center of some sort. There were celebrity panels. There were vendor panels. And
there were our panels.
There were our panels. That's right. But it was the scope is so huge that you almost need like well, I noticed that the convention people were all on those little hover rounds. They were just, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you almost need like I think we should run like a golf cart limo service. Pick you up at one side and take you to your celebrity photo op or whatever.
All right, that would be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I spent the most of my time in the dealer's room.
Yeah, man. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, so I have one complaint about the dealer's room.
Oh, yeah?
Is you walk down the aisle and it's a weapons booth, an anime booth, a plush booth, then a weapons booth, then an anime booth, then a plush booth, then a weapons booth, then an anime booth, and a plush booth. It was basically, if I didn't buy it here in 3 or 4 rows down, I'll find the exact same thing and I can buy it there. It was a lot of the same stuff. If you cut out all the duplicates, the dealer's room would be very, very small.
I can see that. Yeah. There are a lot of different vendors. Even like in the comic book shops, we know of 4 Florida comic shops that all have a pretty large presence there, including our very own, our sponsors and partners and friends over at Famous Faces and Funnies that had 20 booths. He pretty much got he put his whole store on the floor of MegaCon.
Yeah, he had to put a sign on his actual building to tell people that he wasn't out of business.
Yeah, he wasn't out of business. He was just taking everything to MegaCon. Mm-hmm. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It was really incredible. I hope he had a great MegaCon. We haven't had a chance to catch up with him yet. Last week we were pretty much off. We took a week to sleep and catch up on everything. I mean, MegaCon for us was a full week. We left here on Tuesday morning to go over to the Airbnb and then load in on Wednesday all day. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just, epic MegaCon.
go no quit.
We were MegaConning.
I love that, MegaConning.
We can make that a word.
Yes.
It sounds like a word.
Lupo,
It's a word now.
What was your highlight of this year's MegaCon? What was like the best moment for you? Aside from sitting on the set with us.
Well, there's that. Yeah. I mean, he hung out with us.
Well, so the set was spectacular. I just have
Thank
to say,
you.
Thank
you.
That was the coolest thing I saw. To be honest, the thing I really enjoyed the most was Wild Bill's soda.
Oh, yeah. The fountain drinks.
Where you bought a mug, a really cool, like a double insulated mug, like a Yeti mug, and you got free soda refills for the whole run of the convention. So my mug, which was copper double insulated, it kept ice in there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And without melting.
Yeah,
And it was like $35, and the mug was amazing.
Michael's got
the
his,
whole convention,
Wild
I got
Bill's
Diet
mug.
Root beer.
Yeah, nice.
And then classic sodas too.
Oh yeah, they had cream soda, which was what did they call it? They called it something
Vanilla.
different. Vanilla.
Yeah.
But it was basically cream soda, and it was really good cream soda, by the way.
And I did notice that some of the kids, because Cosplay Michael does it, mixes soda. So he mixed the vanilla soda with the orange soda to make like a creamsicle flavor. But like that was
awesome.
right, all day long you can just go back.
Awesome. That's amazing. It was. And I enjoyed that. We produced this year for the first year. We helped to produce the Harry Potter sorting hat ceremony upstairs.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I liked that.
That was amazing. And what an amazing time we had. A huge shout out to our friends over at the Kitchen Killers, Billy Floyd, who gave us Dumbledore. And that was wonderful. And Dennis Cutter and Tara Dunn.
Yeah, from the House of Dunn Cutter.
From the House of Dunn Cutter, who came in and gave us our McGonagall and, of course, the voice of our sorting hat. And a mad-eyed Mooney to glare at us in the corner.
Yes.
That was very nice. And huge shout-out to cosplayer Amelia Poole.
Harlequin Arts and Crafts.
Harlequin Arts and Craft. Wow. Amelia showed up every single day, ready to work. And she was a Hogwarts student on Friday night. And she did everything from, handing out the each house certificate, which was really awesome. And
that was awesome.
Yeah. And then and a huge shout out to voice actor Carrie Means. Carrie is the voice, for those of you that don't know, the voice of Frylock in Aqua Teen's Hunger Force on Adult Swim. And Carrie was our special celebrity sorting hat voice both Friday evening and Sunday. So he actually went behind the curtain and did the voice of the sorting hat and sorted. What I did not know when we asked Carrie to come on board and do that was Carrie knows Harry Potter solely from having seen it like once in a movie theater. He does,
oh my gosh.
He does. He is not familiar with the house rules. He's not familiar with what traits are in what houses. And so for his homework, he went home on Thursday night and his wife had downloaded the sorting hat scene from the movie. And he put it in his ears and he listened to the voice over and over and like all night long. That was his sleeping music, was the voice of the sorting hat. And
Bangarang.
And so he got there, and his voice was spot on, but he didn't, like, how do I sort these kids? And we had it set up really well so the sorting hat could actually see the kids from the front, and or the adults. There were adults that did this too, and we also had it set up so that each parent filled out a form that was like, my son or daughter wants to learn magic because they are brave, because they are loyal, because these are all qualities in the houses. And I watched as Billy Floyd gave Frylock himself, Carrie Means, like a 5-minute here's how you sort each person into their house. And it was just the fastest, like the lowdown, here's brave and here's loyal and he went down the whole list and he was kind of going through it. And then talked about a little bit about how to use we were feeding a camera feed back to the sorting hat so he could see the kids, and how to use that camera feed to determine things that weren't on the paper. Like maybe they're wearing a t-shirt that says something or a cosplay or whatever. And it was the fastest down and dirty thing I can imagine. And Carrie hit it out of the park. I mean, he got a few, there were a few that were, kind of mismatched. But I think he really did hit it out of the park.
I think my favorite moment, though, was a gentleman who came and sat under the hat.
In the Jedi
he was
costume.
wearing a Jedi
Yes.
costume. Yes.
Yes.
And Carrie was like, I sense a type of force around this person.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And, you could hear that Sorting Hat voice going, I sense this one is strong with magic. There's some kind of force around him, and it's very strong.
What
and,
are all these midichlorians?
Yes, there are all these midichlorians everywhere. I don't know what to do with them, Dumbledore. And it was wonderful. And then in the end, there were two that weekend that got this amazing honor that I don't think has ever happened at Hogwarts before. But the Jedi was placed in all of the houses.
All of the houses, yes.
Carrie simply, after the magic overwhelmed him, he said, Dumbledore, give him all of the houses. Put him everywhere in all of the houses. And then the second contender for the all of the houses honor was a teenager who came as Spider-Man.
Because
he stayed in his Spider-Man cosplay the entire time. He was in...
Oh, that's brilliant.
And so because he was in Spider-Man... the Sorting Hat felt it was essential to make sure that Spider-Man received all of the houses as well. All of the houses.
I only have one question.
Yes.
If you let the parents fill out the form, how did every kid not end up in Slytherin?
Apparently
Slytherin! Again!
Some parents, I believe, were trying to do their very best to be,
There
I
were
mean,
a
think
lot of
about
children
it.
who
it's like it is
Store.
MegaCon, and so all the parents at MegaCon who've been dragging their child around for the past 2 hours, you would think would absolutely believe that their child belonged in Slytherin.
That's why you fill the forms out way ahead of time.
Yeah. They must have filled the forms out before they drug them around the con, like when they still liked them. I mean, there was.
But I want this. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, after you're dragging your kid around MegaCon for a couple of hours, and like Lupo said, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want. Cosplay Michael does it.
Wait a minute. Don't we do that too? I went around the MegaCon floor. Well, I want that. Oh, wait, I want that.
Yeah, well, if our parents were filling out the Sorting Hat ceremony, they would have said the same thing. Slytherin!
I would not be Slytherin. I'm a Ravenclaw.
You know what's awesome about being an adult and going to like MegaCon is you go, oh, I want that. Oh, wait a minute. I have a credit card.
That's right.
I can have that.
I can have it
and then
if I
the kids are
want
looking
it.
at you like, I hate you. And I'm like, you will be paying bills too, and then you can buy whatever the hell you want.
That's exactly right.
My sword.
Cosplay Michael has a rule. He can't shop until Sunday unless he's selling stuff. Like if he's selling T-shirts or prints or something, he can shop with his own money. And he enjoys that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so he enjoys being able to do that. And this year he hung out side by side. They were thicker than thieves, and I'm pretty sure they might have been.
They were
Was
not.
Cosplay Michael and Nixter the Con Kid.
Dab.
Yeah. Nixter the Con Kid came all the way from Pennsylvania with Heather Reed and Asylum Convention Entertainment Services, and him and Cosplay Michael ran the floor. And I do mean ran.
That's true.
Like, not as in organized, as in ran. They got separated once. It was amazing. They found each other, and they kept really good, close attention on each other, so it was really good. We got about a minute until commercial break, guys. When we come back, we're going to catch up. We're going to see what we have missed in our absence the last couple weeks. We have been, again, prepping for MegaCon. We'll talk a little bit more about the things we saw and did at MegaCon. And
then we're going to be pop culturing.
pop, could you use that? Is that a verb? Pop culturing?
Yes, I made it a verb.
It is now.
It is now. She made it a verb. Okay, we're going to pop culture when we get back, and we're going to talk about movies and TV and what's out there. And we have discovered some hidden little nuggets.
We have
in streaming services that are really cool shows. But we'll have to check them out, guys. We'll be right back. Stay tuned in, stay logged on, and see what we're talking about next.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Who's who, what's hot, and what's not. 2019 saw some amazing new creative talents, and now you can peek behind the scenes at the hottest indie creative artists in this year's edition of 25 Hottest Indie Authors, Artist Advocates 2019 magazine, published by the renowned and I-Thought Ladies. This is a one-of-a-kind look into the brightest rising stars in the creative universe. Get yours today at magcloud.com and at andwethought.com.
Mature and curvaceous Juliana faces the consequences of having two online lovers, the insanely jealous Aaron and the kind, sexy silver fox Bobby. To make her life more complicated, she must weather the wrath of her husband Rocco, who has discovered his suspicion and uncovers a deep, dark secret. And there are more secrets to uncover. Will these secrets come out? Can Juliana survive this tsunami of impossible situations? Will she be able to rebuild the life she once had? Or will the burden of the past prove too much? Is there even a happily ever after in her future? Read what happens when you pick up your copy of With All of Me Too today from joannesbooks.com or amazon.com.
Are you looking for a used car?
Check out the public auto auction app from carauctionnetworks.com.
You can download the app on your phone or tablet and use it for free, and there's no registration required.
You can see what's for sale at car auctions, such as
bank repos,
dealer trade-in,
surplus government vehicles,
or impounds.
There are plenty of cheap used cars and trucks listed in the app.
You can save a lot of money with public auto auction app.
You can also see and bid at car auctions online.
Get the public auto auction app for iOS at the Apple Store.
Or on Google Play.
Or simply go to carauctionnetwork.com.
That's carauctionnetwork.com.
Authors, filmmakers, producers, anybody that has anything to do with creating independent stuff, comic book authors, musicians. Make sure you take advantage of the 2019 Indie Originals Live Talent Competition going on now at www.indieoriginalslive.com. This is your exclusive opportunity to become an official award-winning independent creator to use that in your marketing. Enter today at www.indieoriginalslive.com.
All right, and we're back, everybody. This is the Hangin' With Web Show Radio Hour. I'm GW Pomichter.
I'm Sagea.
And on the line, we have the Orlando Wizard himself, Robert Lupo. Hey, man.
Hey.
That's right. I know. Oh, my Lord. So, all right. So, guys, what in the world was going on in the world? What was going on in the world while we were MegaCon? Does anybody?
Does it matter?
I don't think so.
I mean, we're at MegaCon. Who cares what's going on?
I know what happened.
What happened?
Okay, because we all participated in it also. It was technically not during MegaCon. It was right at the end of MegaCon.
Okay.
That was the finale of Game of Thrones.
That's right. The finale of Game of Thrones happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that happened too.
That happened too.
Wait. Now with an enthusiastic voice. Yay, that was, yeah, that happened too. Yeah.
Lupo, what'd you think, man?
Wow. So you know that there was a petition that got something like 2 million votes to insist that they refilm that season.
I did. I saw that.
This was supposed to be the most epic finale after this huge, gigantic run with Game of Thrones. And man, talking about being let down and just so underwhelmed. I think the only thing that I thought was more boring and less impressive was Detective Pikachu.
Okay, well, I would start with the final episode, the actual season finale of Game of Thrones. I wasn't let down with it all. And just that episode as an episode by itself, only because I actually saw every storyline tied off. It did what it was supposed to do as an episode, as a final episode. That being said,
but it did it haphazard way.
Well,
let's just tie this together. If there were a Boy Scout, it would have been tied better.
Yeah, well, therein lies the thing. I think leading into that final episode, because I love where it ended. I love King Bran the Broken.
The last 20 minutes, I enjoyed 100%.
Just watching it tie together.
I'll give you that. The last 20 minutes.
Yeah, watching it all happen. Now, here's what I think happened to so many people this season, though, was overhype for the ultimate final season. They saturated it with so much hype, and 7 seasons of build up for things that I think ended up letting down on some level. And I look at it from the point of view of storytelling. They dotted all their I's and they crossed all their T's, and the story was incredibly well told. However, from the point of view of seeing Game of Thrones, which has set the bar way up here for 7 seasons, and always trying to outdo the last time they outdid themselves, this season felt like we're just a TV show. We're just wrapping a TV show. We're just going to wrap a TV show. And it felt forced. And I think you and I talked about you and I talked about this earlier. The Battle of Winterfell. There is nothing.
Should have been 2 episodes.
Yeah, there's nothing about that battle that I don't like. There's nothing that I didn't. I do like that it is the final time we see the Night King. That it takes care of his story arc. I do like that it was Arya that delivered the blow. I do like that it left them, saying, "Hey, we just fought the biggest bat of all time, and now we have to go fight the South." I mean, this kind of sucks. It left everybody in the perfect position. However, it did it so quickly. I was having a conversation today, and I said, early on in the Game of Thrones run, Tyrion has a quote, and I'm going to bastardize it because I don't know the exact nature of the quote. But, he's always passing himself off as, ancient wisdom. And Tyrion used the quote early on, like season 1 or 2, where he said, the history of the world is, and maybe it's season 3 or whatever, because it was later on, it was in his arc. And he said, the history of the world is a series of conversations in elegant rooms. And that was so apropos to Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones, above being dragons and action and battles, Game of Thrones was a series of conversations between well-developed characters in these really well-thought-out settings. So whether it's, the winter, talking about the winter and things at Winterfell or Castle Black, to talking about the politics of King's Landing, these conversations between characters made this show epic. And then there was a dragon. So, after these characters had these wonderful conversations and all of the verbal sparring, there was action, and there was a battle, and there was a dragon, and there was the Night King, and there was a White Walker. But it still was a series of conversations in beautiful rooms by, important people. And this season, we got all the dragons we could handle. We got the White Walker. We got winter coming in. We got, epic dark battle sequences, watching the flames go out from the Dothraki. I mean, literally the death of a race happened right in front of us. But we were missing conversations in rooms between these characters. And every time they tried to do it, to feed that part of the beast, they rushed through it. And so there's that great scene, and everybody talks about it, with, Tormund explaining where he gets his name from, and Brienne being knighted, and that was a great scene, by the way. It was a fantastic scene. I love that scene
when she gets knighted.
Yeah, it was a fantastic scene. It was what Game of Thrones is all about.
Yes.
Conversations in rooms between characters. And then burn something with a dragon. And then freeze something with the Night King. And then an action sequence. But we were missing, through this season, conversations in those elegant rooms.
Yes, because I'll tell you what, I know that there was a conversation between Tyrion and Bran. And I kept wondering, gosh,
what did they say?
To be a fly on the wall. That's right. It had to have been something, because Tyrion won't leave that alone.
And again, they finish, it's Tyrion who says, Bran the Broken, that's our new king. That conversation had so much weight with Tyrion that, after spending weeks in a cell, presumably, after, seeing everything that he's seen, he chooses Bran. And we can't take it for granted that, in large part due to the conversation they had, to the life that Bran has led, but we didn't hear the conversation. We were left to assume that because we knew what Bran went through, that Tyrion was getting like the 411 on it, and it felt again rushed. It wasn't that everything happened that was supposed to happen, but a lot of it happened where we're supposed to just assume, like we would. I mean, we would do this in a regular TV show, a TV show that hadn't set the bar so high. We would assume that a lot of these conversations happened off camera, over there. But Game of Thrones has always done them on camera. They set the bar for character development and story development on camera. So,
but the problem with this is we were promised a banquet, and all we got to do is smell some bread. Yeah. Now, the bread smelled amazing.
It was good bread. It
left us all wanting. It was like, that wasn't what we were promised, It's like salad. Salad's the promise, real food's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
It's never really the meal, right?
Yeah,
but, that was the problem, is like, I wanted the banquet. I was starving. And all I got to do was like, while I smell bread in the kitchen. And thank you for your time and money, and off you go.
The appetizers, you didn't get the meal.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And I mean, again, I loved every place that the story ended. Everything about the last 20 or 30 minutes of the final episode did everything so beautiful. It is fitting that Jon Snow should end up back at the wall and beyond the wall. That is fitting.
King beyond the wall.
It is fitting that Sansa, who has said from episode 1, someday I'll be queen, is now queen of the North. That is fitting. And the North receives her with all of the enthusiasm that they did with Jon and Robb. That's wonderful.
Yes. And a gorgeous dress to boot.
Yes. With so much symbolism in it. I mean, that whole scene, that dress is a scene in itself. It's got the weirwood things. It's got the collar like Littlefinger. It's got the metalwork like, seriously, everybody who's taught her anything is represented in that gown.
Yes. And I loved how they wove the Starks together.
Yes.
At the very end.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Well, I thought it was really important that she stood her ground. She sat there and said, the North, we're kind of bitter and we've been shunned, and I think we're just going to rule ourselves.
Yeah, and I love the
fact.
And
they went, okay, the North will be its own entity, and it's no longer this many kingdoms, it's one less.
Yeah, exactly.
And they gave ground.
Yeah, I think that was perfect.
We defeated the dead. Now let us be our own kingdom.
That's right. I mean, we saved all 7 kingdoms, the world, not all 7 kingdoms. The world. We saved the world. Let us have our ground, and they did, and that was great. Again, King Bran the Broken, fantastic. Seeing the new small council, amazing. Seeing who sits on it, and I love that we got to see Bronn again.
Yes, I think you underestimate the importance of the brothel.
That's right. I love that we saw Bronn again in that character again. The last 30 minutes is all about those little conversations in elegant rooms. The conversation with the small council as they work out shipbuilding and brothel building and rebuilding. Loved it. Loved everything about it. Thought that I shouldn't get it for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
because I think that the Battle of Winterfell should have been 2 episodes. And honestly, I think from a filmmaking perspective, from saying, hey, everything about the beginning of this episode and the end of this episode is satisfying. So how do we make the middle how do we put the meat on the bones, as Lupo said? How do we put the banquet out? The answer is clear. As soon as the Night King lands his dragon and raises his arms and come at me, bro, and all the dead rise, cut to black, and then next week, let's find out where that goes. And let's take an hour to go from raising his minions to Arya's stab. Let's take a full hour with that next week. I just think that's a great...
Pokey.
That's right. I think we could have done better with that. And then it's the same thing...
I think it would have been better if they did 10 episodes instead of 6.
Yeah,
I think 10, they could have really told the story in depth.
Yeah, that's right. Stretch it out. Stretch those big episodes out.
You could have seen Dany go mad more than she
That's the other
did.
thing. The Battle of King's Landing should have been the same exact thing as the Battle of Winterfell. It should have been 2 episodes. It should have started, right after the death of Missandei. We should have seen her start to go mad. We should have seen a lot more, again, conversations about her going mad. Does that make sense? Guys,
she's definitely her father's daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, she went mad like the Mad King did.
In the end, that's right. He said burn them all, and that's what she was doing. Guys, we have to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive more into Game of Thrones. We're also going to talk about some other things that we found in the deep crevices of the streaming universe. And we're going to make some recommendations to Lupo because we know he loves to go looking for things. Mm-hmm. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned in, stay logged on, and see what we're talking about next.
Now on Amazon.com, iCoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet iCoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only iCoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and iCoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get iCoin on Amazon.com today.
Now on Amazon.com, War Calls, Love Cries, a Civil War novel by Mark Barie. Isaac Wells is an innocent farm boy living in upstate New York. His dreams are shattered by a treacherous brother and the onset of a devastating civil war. War Calls and Love Cries is a fast-moving historical narrative. It is an emotional roller coaster ride and a riveting must-read book that you will think about and talk about for a long time to come. War Calls and Love Cries is the kind of book you will cherish for a lifetime. on Amazon.com today.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
He's gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
The Rite of Wands. One boy, one rite, and a world of deadly secrets that could change the course of history forever. It's time for The Rite of Wands by Mackenzie Flohr. When a horrible fate reveals itself during the Rite of Wands ceremony, Mirda must find a way to change his destiny. Forbidden from revealing the future, he is granted a wand and magical powers in order to save himself and those he loves. But Mirda is not the only one with secrets. The Rite of Wands by Mackenzie Flohr, available on Amazon.com now.
Discarded by Michael J. Allen. In a world where magic is sold like designer coffee, unknown forces have corrupted it, and it's killing people. Now, an unlikely hero emerges. A homeless ex-con creating spells out of a trash can is the only one who can save the city. Michael J. Allen's Discarded, available on Amazon.com.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to the Hangin With Web Show Radio Hour, everybody. I'm GW Pomichter.
I am the Orlando Wizard.
You are not. You are not the wizard.
No, I'm the Orlando Wizard. No,
Darn it. Okay, I'm Sagia.
The disembodied voice on Skype. That is the Orlando Wizard. You're a fraud, an imposter. Yes. We're back, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are just catching up. We are glad to be back. We were off the air for a couple of weeks while we did Orlando MegaCon. We all had a phenomenal time there. We met Lupo over there, who got to see our set for the first time, our live traveling set, which was awesome. And we did like a lot of interviews too. So we got a lot of interview content coming out in our daily video show. So make sure you check those interviews out. And we had some special guests too. We had from upstate New York, we had our own Allison Marie, who was in the chair doing interviews. So those will be coming out real soon. And from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Christian Basil did a couple of interviews that are, I would say Doctor Who centric, but they really weren't. That's I think wrong. But you might be right.
I could be right.
Just G. Just do the G.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, so we did that. We did all of that at MegaCon, and then we came home and we watched Game of Thrones. And
so don't forget Josh Bauer's live painting.
Yeah,
Saturday and Sunday.
that was good. Did you get to see that while you were there?
That was really cool.
Wasn't that awesome?
Josh,
that was awesome.
Yeah, the Miles Morales on Sunday was absolutely amazing. That actually,
and I helped sell raffle tickets for that.
Yes, that actually auctioned off on the following Thursday, and they raised over $100 for Hearts Helping Others in Orlando. That's right. And on Saturday, the painting was auctioned off for
the Yellow Brick Road.
The Yellow Brick Road. That's right. Yes. Building the little wagons and the transportation for children with congenital heart failure. So. Amazing time at MegaCon was had. We came home. We dove into Game of Thrones, the final episode. Again, not disappointed with the episode, not disappointed with where the season ended. I'm with Lupo, though. I really believe that the storyline could have been stretched out over more episodes, and it would have left us with a less like Chinese food and more like Thanksgiving dinner. Because I felt like I got every nutritional thing that I needed from my story. I just felt like I was hungry afterwards, and I shouldn't have been. You know,
I agree.
It's like I
felt unsatisfied.
Yeah, and not because when I went back over, and I did have that feeling just like Lupo, but I couldn't find a story reason. I couldn't. The story did what it was supposed to do. I was happy for Arya's kill. I was happy to see. I was heartbroken. And happy with the story point when Jon killed Daenerys. It was heartbreaking. It was a wonderful moment of storytelling to see how broken he was at the idea. And the idea that we had come full circle. Master Aemon said, love is the death of duty. And Tyrion finished it with duty is sometimes the death of love. And we knew where
you said duty.
We knew where that was going.
You know what I didn't like though? I didn't, and I realized they did it for time.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that cut to black. They almost had like a ... sometime later.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy that.
No, I thought maybe there should have been a smoother transition. But, time leaps for Game of Thrones are not something we're not used to. They happen normally in a way that is seamless. This had a very definitive black seam. Normally when time jumps, it jumps because we're changing locations. So we're in King's Landing, and then when we're going to 6 months later, it's 6 months later in another location, like up at Winterfell or wherever. And because of the spatial jump, the time jump doesn't feel bad. But just fading to black and time jumping everybody in an equal fashion, You're right, that kind of felt like a bit of a cheat. But again, it was like eating Chinese food. I loved every minute of it. I enjoyed it. And I left hungry still. And I thought, why am I hungry still? They did everything they were supposed to do. And I think Lupo and I have hit it on the head. It's not that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. It's that they didn't take their time and do it longer and stretch it out. This is the last season of Game of Thrones. 10 episodes, I think, 10 episodes would have been justice. I think a couple of extra long episodes, like the Battle at Winterfell, would have been okay. The Battle of King's Landing should have been another two-parter and stretched out over long. We should have seen the conversations that showed us that Dany was going mad. We knew it was going to happen. As we watched Missandei die, we knew that Dany was going to lose her mind.
Just circling around on the dragon, burning everything.
It was
a little more than that.
A little more exposition there, more conversations in rooms showing us that Dany was going mad. Because they started talking about Dany not being right for the throne immediately after Varys and Tyrion found out about Jon. And that seemed forced. It seemed too fast. It seems like they should have actually wrestled with, what do we do? Is she the Mad King's daughter, or is she a good queen? And there should have been some more wrestling with that. We didn't get to see that. That was like, tell me if I'm wrong, Lupo, it almost feels like there's a missing episode. Like between the Battle of Winterfell and the Battle of King's Landing, it seems like there should be another filler episode in there.
It's like the lost chapter in a book. It's like, what happened in this? Well, those pages are ripped out and lost to history. So I'm like, it's like you drop off and then you come up to a different section. You're like, well, what happened here in this section? Why is this not clear?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knew that that Varys was going to make the Jon Snow choice. I think everyone knew that he was going to betray Daenerys. But I don't think there was enough leading up to... There wasn't enough of a betrayal leading up to it. I think we should have seen it get a little sneakier. We should have seen those ravens start to fly. We should have really seen things go. And we didn't. There's something in between those battles that just seems missing.
Well, they didn't even explain what happened with Bran when he was like, flying the ravens out and all that stuff, right? During the battle with the Night King. None of that was explained. Yeah. We had no idea what Bran was doing.
Yeah.
And it was never explained. It was never brought up again. But it was an important scene, and we're like, what's he doing? And you're going to tell us, right? No, you're never going to tell us? That's great. Thanks.
And they always, up till now, up till this season, up till they wrapped, they always took the time when Bran was doing his thing. If he was seeing the future or the past or whatever, they showed it to us. Mm-hmm. They took the time to give us those one or two scenes and cut back and forth so we could see what was happening in Bran's mind. Because obviously what's happening in Bran's mind in the middle of this battle is important. So he's got the ravens flying over. He's watching the battle. He's seeing all this, stuff, the possibilities he's seeing. What if the Night King dies? What if the Night King lives? He's seeing all this stuff, and we don't get to see any of it. We just get to see this kid in a wheelchair staring up at the sky. And
none for you.
And there's none for us. So yeah, I do think that there were mistakes. Again, it did everything it was supposed to do. It wrapped the show in what I think should have felt like a satisfying place. Every character ended up where they belonged at that point. But there's just some holes in there that I thought you need to do. And again, I get the also point that the source material no longer available. And the writer's instructions in terms of where the story ends. We know that this story ends on TV the same way it's going to end in the books. So George Martin knew where to tell them to end it. But the point...
Yeah, but they didn't necessarily listen to him. That was the problem, is the ending we saw on TV isn't what he told them.
Well, a lot of the points leading up to it aren't. However, the ending ends exactly where George Martin from the very beginning, designed it to end. So,
really? Because I was told that they took liberties with the ending.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I mean,
they
I could be wrong.
from everything that I've read so far is that they're, when they first started the show, and throughout each season, he gives them like, these are the characters that are still alive in the books, but you can kill off because they're not an imperative to the story. These are the characters that are an absolute imperative. They have to be alive because they are going to play a role, and this is where it ends. So I think unless George Martin changes his mind, at this point, where we saw the show end is where the books will end. It's just, I think the books are going to take their time to get there. This is going to be a 1,000-page book easily.
Well, maybe.
It's 2 years overdue, so it better be a 1,000-page book.
We're just helping book sales.
Yeah, there you go.
My favorite two parts of the King's Landing is Jaime and Cersei and the Hound and
Jaime and Cersei's ending was less than stellar, but at the same time, it did fulfill the Valonqar prophecy.
Yes, it was slightly anticlimactic.
It was, but
it was very anticlimactic.
But you know what? When you stop to think and break from George Martin's own lips, prophecies are fickle things. They're funny things. He led her down the stairs, and then when they couldn't get out to the back door, he just held on to her. So after a fashion, he is responsible for their deaths together. That's the Valonqar prophecy.
Well, and the one thing that I did think was fitting was, they always said we came into this world together. We'll go out together.
That's
and
right.
They did.
And they did. And so that was pretty good. Guys, when we come back, we're going to wrap the show by talking about some things that you may or may not have seen online and streaming, and some other, sci-fi fantasy shows that are out there right now, that the middle section turned into a Game of Thrones section, but we could probably do that for like 5 shows because
that's true.
There's a lot there. And again, there's a lot even in this last season, that because things move so fast, you might have missed.
Yes, well, while we wait for a commercial break, perhaps craft services will bring me a cup of coffee.
That would be very nice. And not leave it on the table during the show. So, okay, guys, we'll be right back on the other side of this commercial break. Stay tuned in and stay logged on.
Every year, tens of millions of people flock to Florida for its sunny beaches and world-famous tourist attractions. Most never learn about the strange and unusual locations just off the beaten path. From the UFOs of Gulf Breeze to Robert the Haunted Doll in Key West, learn about the myths, monsters, and legends from the dark side of the Sunshine State with author Mark Muncy and illustrator Carrie Schultz in their books Eerie Florida and Freaky Florida from the History Press. Find them at eerieflorida.com or wherever books are sold.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hangin With Web Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com, or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
He's gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
Murder by the Gods from author William G. Collins is available today. Murder by the Gods is a mystery thriller set in the glorious past of ancient Egypt, when the son of the Scorpion King suddenly collapses after receiving a mysterious threat from the god Seth. The prince is convinced it is the gods who are trying to kill his family. Murder by the Gods is filled with adventure and romance in a kingdom that would become known as the Land of the Pharaohs. Murder by the Gods from author William G. Collins is available on Amazon.com today.
A message comes
All right,
in.
everybody. Welcome back to the Hangin With Web Show Radio Hour. We are kind of catching up with you guys. We were at MegaCon. We had a great time. We watched Game of Thrones, the final episode.
We did.
Finished up the season. And then on top of all that, okay, so we got to check out some new streaming stuff, which was kind of fun. But we were checking out new streaming stuff while Lupo was off seeing Dectective Pikachu.
Yes, he was.
So,
Pikachu.
From our resident movie reviewer in the house, from Lupo and Lou Reviews, from the Orlando Wizard, Robert, Detective Pikachu, man. So tell us.
There was amazing high hopes for this. I mean, people came in costume. People were dressed up as their favorite characters. People were, like jonesing out when it came to seeing their favorite Pokemon on the big screen.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I literally fell asleep in the movie.
Wow.
And I desperately wanted to see this. I was so excited about this. I missed the whole ending because I was like, oh my God, I can't stay awake. How long is this movie going to take? And it was slow and very uneventful. And I would, if you ever watch my movie reviews, we score up to a 10. I would have to give it a solid 3. And it only gets a 3 because they did a great job with the Pokemon, making them look amazing on screen.
Visual effects.
But aside from that, I would not pay money to watch that movie again.
Wow.
Oh boy.
In fact, I'm angry because I got in for free, and I still feel like I need my money back.
Because you can't have that time back. That doesn't come back to you. Yeah. So, wow. That's actually disappointing, because, there was so much hype leading up to it. And I always feel bad when a movie like that, because that's a nice, feel good, pop culture tribute to, the Pokemon, series and the games and all the stuff that fans have come to love. But it was coming on the heels of, Endgame, this huge, massive, thing. So I always feel bad for movies that have to feel like they're competing with that.
Do you know why Lupo went, though?
Why?
Because you gotta watch them all.
Oh. Wow.
You should really feel bad. I'm sorry, but you should feel bad.
That hurt a little bit.
The thing is it would have stood up fine if they did a better story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Pokemon fanatic. I absolutely love all things Pokemon. And Christina will still complains that I forgot to wear my Pokemon hat, that Pikachu hat that she made me. But I went there super excited, and that excitement slowly and rapidly after a while swooped out of me, and I was like, oh my God, is this over anytime soon? It could have been done a lot better than it was.
Wow. Well, that is disappointing. We, on the other hand, have stumbled onto some neat streaming things. Netflix has a Netflix original series out called The Society. Have you heard of this one?
No. Tell me.
Okay, so The Society, about 2 years ago, there was a show that was, do you remember the name of that one? Where all the grown-ups died off.
It was like anybody over the age of 22 was all dead.
Well, The Society is a similar concept in that there's something going on in the town. We still don't know what. And the kids of the junior and senior class are sent away, presumably to camp for a week. While they sort out what's going on in the town, and because it's dangerous, it's a chemical thing. There's a smell. There's whatever's going on, but before the children can get to camp, they are told by the bus driver who drops them off in front of the town circle that there was a landslide in the road. Plans have changed. You're coming home. When they get home, nobody's there. Like nobody except them. If you were not on the bus, there's nobody else in the town.
What?
And that's right. The
and
entire
all the bus
town.
drivers disappear too.
That's right. The entire town is gone. The bus drivers drive away, and you never see them again. The bus drivers are gone. Everything. When they start to venture out past the city limits, because the cars are all there, the stuff is all there, the houses are all there. The power works. They cannot get a cell phone signal outside of the town, but they can call one another in the town. So, like the cell phone tower is still there.
What?
Yeah. Everything.
Was there piles of red dust and a comet went by, or
there's no? Well, that's just it. When they start
trying to figure out along with the
when
kids
they try to explore,
could have happened.
when they try to explore beyond the town roads end like abruptly at forests. So, like, right over the bridge, the road just sort of turns to rubble, and the forest starts. And then they send a drone up in the air to take pictures, and
they see nothing.
They see nothing.
Just
The
forest.
entire town exists, but outside of the town is
Nothing
a forest. So the kids and what's great about this, what I loved about it, is that we don't know more than they do.
Mm-hmm.
As they are discovering how much food they have, how much water they have, as they are struggling to figure out where the hell they are. Like, are we on our Earth? Are we in an alternate dimension? There are all these, fantastical.
I mean, they ask all those questions.
Yeah, are we dead?
Alien terrarium.
Yeah, is this like, are we dead? Like Lost? You know what I mean? Is this like, our purgatory? They're asking all of these questions, and they don't know the answers, and neither do we, which is the fun part of the series. Now, I will say, they move really, really quickly into establishing a society, rationing of food, all of these things. Later on in the series, the idea of finding farmland, because they need to eat beyond what is in the supermarket. They move very quickly in doing this, and we spend a lot of time with the character development, learning about each one of these characters, and it's not until way later in the series where we're actually starting to go back and wonder how the hell this happened in the first place. Where are all the parents? Where are all the little siblings? Where are all the teachers and bus drivers? And where's the world? And as we get back into that, then bang, fade to black, come back for season 2. Because we still don't know. So,
but they do have a glorious episode of kind of just like the Lord of the Flies. Where
it's
the
Lord of the Flies, but the kids are a little older, so things don't break down quite as much as Lord of the Flies, because they have, student body presidents, and they have all of these things that they know about in their minds from high school.
Yes.
So they're not like, dropping a bunch of 14-year-olds on an island where it's Lord of the Flies. These kids know that if they Lord of the Flies, then they'll probably die. So they try to form a society. As best as they can, they try to form a society. Very interesting show. Need more to make a really rational judgment as to whether or not this is going to be great or not.
Yes.
Because the character development is awesome. The arcs is good. The investment in the show is good. We get some characters right from the get-go. We get some characters that die. They actually put the stakes on the table. This could kill you, this thing that we're doing. So they put the stakes on the table. It's high stakes. And I think I would like to see season 2 open up with more of an explanation of how the hell these kids got where they are.
Yes.
Where they are, what's going on. Because at the very end, if you remember, Sage and Lupo, it's not a spoiler. At the very end, we snap back to reality where the moms and dads are gathered at someone's house trying to figure out where all their kids went. So we really do have a parallel thing happening that we don't know about. Very interesting show. The Society, if you get a chance to check it out.
The Society. I'm going to watch it tonight.
It's on Netflix. Speaking of which, we want to ask Lupo, the last recommendation we made, have you made it through The Expanse as yet?
Not through the whole thing, no.
No, not yet, huh? He's still catching.
Not yet. There's so much to watch.
There is, but that one definitely keep The Expanse on your playlist, because I know you're loving it.
Yes, and because we're watching,
it's spectacular.
That's right, and we are watching for
season 4.
Season 4 from Amazon, because Amazon has picked up The Expanse now that it's no longer on Sci-Fi, and they are going to be running it as an Amazon original series.
Yes. Do you know what else?
Can you watch it through Prime?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. All 3 seasons are on Amazon. All 3 seasons on Amazon Prime right now, so you can check those out. So that's The Expanse, that's The Society.
And Good Omens is also...
And Good Omens is coming, which is just supposed to be a good time,
I'm
just
looking
funny.
forward to that.
I am too. Just funny, fun,
really good.
Great stuff. Guys, can you believe it's been an hour?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Dina's over there making faces. She says it's been an hour. I don't know if I believe her, but it has been an hour.
Time travel.
So we're gonna start wrapping it up. We're gonna say thank you to our partners and our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies. Rick Shea and the team over there, fantastic crew. Our great friend, author Yvonne Mason with Off the Chain Radio. Our great friends, Jake Estrada, David Grace, and Chuck Fresh over at Space Coast Comics, Indie Originals, and IndieCon 2019, which we are so looking forward to. IndieCon
that's just
coming up in June. That's right. Jay Bauer Art, Josh Bauer at Jay Bauer Art, who provides all of the art on our set. And even here in the studio, we've got a Jay Bauer original hanging behind us. Krypton Radio for airing this show first. And then, of course, CBSRadio.com, iHeartRadio, and all of the other places that you can find this online. Foxwood Wine Company, because they're awesome.
And they gave us comfy chairs.
Then
for
they
our
gave us
set.
really comfy chairs for our set, which we all enjoyed very much at MegaCon after walking around all day long.
That is true.
Thank you guys for sharing our videos, for our radio show, for sharing all of our properties all over the web. We're going to wrap it up tonight with some independent original music. What do you guys think of that idea?
I think that's an excellent idea.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up tonight by thanking Robert Lupo, the Orlando Wizard, and one half of Lupo and Lee Reviews. We want to thank you so much for being with us again tonight, Robert, and we look forward to this every week. Sage, thank you. Dina, thank you. Thank you, everybody in the control room, for making this thing work. Now let's...
Thank you, award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomichter.
You're very welcome. Now, rise. And, okay,
No
so,
bowing.
there we go. And now let's finish up a little bit of music. Here is Mannequin by our good friends, the Kitchen Killers.
She said I need little spaces instead of moving day by day through all those places that we passed and that passengers. This frequency I'm living through, gotta change, beginning, oh so familiar taste. Talking to screaming, trying to break down all of the meaning and believing that the only way out is believing and cheating with the man that's standing in my doorway. Now, here we go again. Asking this is something going on again. More time spent in the goddamn garage, falling in love with the married mannequin. As she said, those cats was right in my eyes. Darling eyes reveal the truth. Through this phase of growing further every day, Funnies lying in that way beside of evil masks and friendly faces. Snap the past chat. This piece of shit that he's married to, living a life perfect while it's tucked and tight at night. Talking, screaming and dreaming, trying to break down walls in between me and he. As I lie to his wife, I'm cheating and leaving. And I'm lost of it, broke the other day. Now, here we go again. Asking this is something going on again. A long time spent in the goddamn garage, falling in love with the married mannequin. On her, as he said, those cats were wild in my eyes. Darling eyes reveal the truth. Which a lie she can see right through. All those dark and narrow stairs, my baby's to leave a high rift. Left over love is left.
Every once in a while,
only death can cure this stress. Only love can cure this stress.